Okay, now we're getting into the electrical panel here. As you can see, there's a lot of wires and stuff. They're going all over the place. And one thing that I've found that I think will come in very handy for this build, that already came with the bus, it's already hooked up, but it's got to be moved. I can't have it up here. But this is a solenoid that will kick on when the ignition is on. And when it kicks on, it puts power through here into these circuits, which are all the lights in the back and all that kind of good stuff. So we want all these powered up, but we only want them powered on the house side, which that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to power these up with the house battery. So it is running all this stuff all the time. So that will save me some running of wires, because there are wires ran everywhere. And the nice thing, they're all labeled. Look here. Don't know if you, let's see. I must be able to see that. But that has a little label on it. Auxiliary circuit number 3. You might be able to see it. Okay. Wherever this wire runs to, the other end of it is labeled just like that. So this is very handy. I like that. Now, what I've found, I'm going to move this down on below the dash on the passenger side over here. And I'm going to splice these two together so that, or maybe just take this wire and just put it on this bolt. That would make more sense. Yeah. And this will actually power up my inverter and the auxiliary battery. Well, actually, it's just running the auxiliary battery, which will run the inverter and everything. So that way, when the engine's running, it will be charging my house batteries. But whenever the ignition is off, this will be open and not be wasting my power of my battery going back into the van part. It isolates the van battery from the house battery. And okay, well, we're going to take that off and put it down there. Okay, here is the same cluster of wires comes down this part here through all that. And yeah, a raindrop just hit my, I've got a leak. I figured out where it was, but there's already water in there, so there's nothing really I can do about the rest of it. Okay, this wire comes out of there. Let me get down here where I can show you. There's the big wire. Right here is the big wire. And there's a couple more wires that run through that same sheath up to the electrical panel, and this is one of them. Now, this wire right here says on it, lift solenoid. I assume that is if you have a handicap van that has the lift on it, this is the wire for the solenoid for the lift. Okay, we're not going to have a lift, but we are going to have to move the solenoid for the battery down there. So, okay, how do we know for sure, even though this one says lift solenoid on it, and it is coming out of there? The way that we find out for sure, set our meter on ohms, okay, and I've got one lead ran into that wire right there, okay. The other end I will touch to that. All right, I'm going to strip this wire out. And then, let's see if I can get them both in the same shot. There is the meter. Yeah, you can see it. I'm going to touch, which my leads are missing. They've got tore off over the years, so that's what I got. So I'm going to touch it to the wire, the other end of the wire. There we go. It zeroes out, which means it's the same wire. So if you ever want to make sure that the wire that you found is the one that you want. I guess if you don't know for sure that this wire is exactly the same as this wire, and you want to make sure, I mean, you always want to make sure, like I sometimes say, when in doubt, ohm it out. I never say that. That's even too corny for me. But anyway, use your ohm meter to make sure that the same wire goes to the same place. Anyway, alright. That is going to come in very handy because I can go ahead and I can move my solenoid. Okay, now what I'm needing is a couple of these. This one has already been crimped, and of course, well, that one's too small. But what I need these for is to go over the end of the solenoid. So, if I'm going to need two of these, I don't have any. How am I going to get one of those? Well, I do have one of these. And got one of those and one of those. So, let's just make a couple of these. Okay, first off, this, of course, has got to be flattened out. About like that. Then, we'll need to drill a hole in it. Okay, I got my piece of wood that I built me a stand for my couch. I'll show you that in a little bit, but so I'll drill it into the side like this, so if I do make a mark, it's going to get covered anyway. Okay, there is basically the connector. We just need to cut this off, and we'll have a connector for the solenoid. Okay, there we go. All you got to do, stick the wire in there, and I usually just take a hammer and tap on it a couple of times, or you can use a crimper. Crimp it down, and there you go. It will go right on there. Like that. Tighten it up, and it's good as a factory one. May wrap a little piece of tape around it to insulate it. Other than that, I mean, yeah, it's not exactly as pretty, but it will do the job. Okay, let me show you what all I got going now. Here is the solenoid that was up in the electrical panel a while ago. This is the wire that we traced out. It's the one that triggers it. Of course, it's grounded to the chassis right here. This wire right here goes under the hood into where the battery would hook up there. It basically hooks the van battery back to this solenoid. Now, from the solenoid, this wire goes up into the electrical panel where all the fuses are. This one comes back, goes down through the floor right there. I'm going to have to get a rubber grommet and put in there. Goes under comes back up through the floor right there. And okay, let me get up. Okay, you can see the wire coming up through the floor right there. It's going to come across. I'm going to put a little race through there. I was thinking of putting the battery and stuff under this one, but I think that's going to be for like shoes and stuff. And I'm going to put the battery under here. This is not the battery that's actually going to end up in there. That is one of the ones that I replaced. I put 2 new batteries in. This is one of the old ones. It will be good enough to try everything out, but I'm going to get some AGM batteries to replace this. Okay, here we have a 2000 watt power inverter. It is kind of a cheapie, but has the 3 outlets on it and just a toggle switch with a little green LED. In the back, it's a cooling fan. Has 4 connections to spread the load out and a line of fuses for protection. All right, we'll turn that back off. I'm going to get some connectors, basically some battery cable connectors, like, well, the type that would go on a battery terminal, car battery terminal. We'll get a couple of those, actually 4 of them, because there's 2 of these batteries. This bus had 2 batteries to start it. And now it's going to have 4 batteries. I have 2 for the house and 2 for the starting. So, all right. Now all I've got to do is get the connectors and stuff. And I'll start hooking everything else up. Start running the wiring. Building the box to go around here. Probably either vent it through the wall or through the floor. Probably through the floor. And because right now it's going to have to be vented. These are lead acid, so when they charge, they give off a little bit of gas. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. And it's kind of hard to film when you're crawling around down in an area like that. So I wasn't really filming much. Anyway, well, I guess that's going to be about it for this video. I think I'm going to call it a day for now, and I guess call this a video. Appreciate y'all watching, and I'll see y'all on the next one.